Okay, I want to thank you, of course. In this video, we're going to be going over Psalms 83, of course, and we're going to be dealing with the who as I have it in my notes. Keep watching. Okay, welcome back to another video. If you're new to this channel, of course, consider subscribing. What I go over in terms of research here, of course, is esoteric and exoteric information in retrospect to how it influences you, and through my studies, helping give you the tools that you need on your soul journey so you can go the rest of the way, of course, in your studies, okay? So like I said earlier, in this particular video, we're going to be dealing with Psalm 83, which is a very popular chapter amongst certain groups, of course, who are trying to identify those who are, of course, working against them in terms of them being able to obtain the mysteries of the light or return back to their inheritance. Okay, so in this particular video, we're going to be dealing with it on the aspect of the who. All right, so let's go and actually read that. I'll be referencing to a King James Version Bible in this particular video. There are obviously many other texts that you can reference to in your studies, of course. I just like to compare them and see what we have, okay? So let's see what we have here. So in Psalm 83, it says, "Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head." Okay? They have taken what? Crafty counsel against thy people. All right? And consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name," and here it says that the name of Israel, not a land or anything, is obviously talking about a people here, "may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee." So here it just says whatever the conversations are dealing with these particular people, of course, they're in agreement. Let us cut them off. Let us have crafty counsel. Let us set up roadblocks for them so they will not become whatever it was that they were actually supposed to be. Now, later, of course, in Psalm 83, it does deal with names. In line 6, it says the tabernacles of Edom. It goes on to talk about the Ishmaelites and so forth, and Moab and the Hagarenes, and it names some various different names here, okay? We're not gonna go into that from an aspect of crayon colors and all that kind of stuff, black, white, green, polka dot, and purple and everything. What we want to do is say, by the fruit we shall know the tree. Okay, so that's how we want to identify it here, because it says no good tree can bring forth corrupt fruit, right? And no corrupt tree can bring forth what? Good fruit. By the what? By the tree you shall know the fruit. Okay, so that's how we want to address it in this particular video, because through my research, it appears, of course, that if you look at it from a race perspective, because a lot of races are just made up in the minds of the people, things agreed upon to help make you think, of course, that there are not other existences on other planes of reality or whatever the case may be. So then you start looking at basically the veil that people are kind of under, because certain faculties might not be open for you to where you can actually see what is before your face. But in the scripts, it actually gives you a hint of what you're dealing with. So I have my notes here. So let's look at Revelation chapter 18 real quick. So I'm going to turn here to Revelation chapter 18. Now, Revelation chapter 18, of course, it says something real interesting here. So it starts on line 1 by saying this. It says, "And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of" what? "Devils, and the hold of every" what? "Foul spirit," okay? "And a" what? "Cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And in other translations, it does say hated bird. So it says of every unclean and hated bird. And also in other translations, it says and detestable beast. So you're dealing with beast, it looks like, and you're dealing with hateful birds or hated birds and devils and a hold of every foul spirit. That's what it says here in the book of Revelations, chapter 18. And what they've done, it says, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So that's like a key thing for them. It says, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. That's what it says here in the book of Revelations. Now, based on my notes here, I want to reference something very interesting, because in the same chapter, Psalms 83, if we were to go down to line 12, there, it says something very interesting in terms of what those that we just read about in Revelation chapter 18 that we're dealing with, that are the enemies of the Most Holy, and they actually hate the higher regions of righteousness, and it looks like they're the ones that have taken crafty counsel against the treasures of those regions. So what we want to do here is go right back to Psalm and look at, let's see here, let's look at line 12 this time. All right, it's going to take me just a second here to turn back to it. I got all these tabs. All right, so we got Psalms coming up. So we got Psalms chapter 83. All right, thank you for your patience there. Let's get back there. Now what we want to do, if you've already made it there, that's fine. But now what we want to do is go down to line 12 to find out what they're doing. So it says in line 12, now these are the ones that are confederate against the chosen people, or against those people who have come to maybe deliver their people and got trapped in a cycle. Here it says, in line 12, who said, now we're dealing with those ones who are confederate against the Most Holy. It says, who said, let us take to ourselves what? The houses of God in possession. Okay, so that's what we have happening here in Psalms 83. We have a tumult that has taken place. We have crafty counsel that's being done. Now, in this particular part 1 session, we're dealing with the how, so to speak. In part 2, of course, we're going to expound on it a little bit more. Maybe there'll be a part 3. I'm not sure, but you can leave your questions and so forth underneath the like button in the comment area, of course, and we can have a dialogue on what you're looking to have explained. But what we want to focus on right now is what they might appear to be based on Revelation chapter 18, what they have said they wanted to do, which is cut off a specific people, and they said they wanted to take the habitations of the Most High for themselves. Okay, now what I want to do, based on my notes here, of course, I want to reference the Kabbalah. I want to reference the Kabbalah to find out what those areas might be located. Remember, on this particular channel, we like to kind of deal with it from an esoteric perspective, not necessarily from an exoteric, meaning outside of yourself. We want to kind of go into the deeper mysteries here, or in reference to that. So let's look at the Kabbalah here in part 1. And let's find out, see if I can find the page where it's written. I typically can open the book and it just flopped there. There we go. All right. So on page 321 in the Kabbalah, it's talking about these same ones that we just learned about in Psalms 83. And here it identifies them as intruders, okay? The reason why this is relevant is because we just found out in line 12 that it says they have what said, let us take for ourselves the possessions of God, okay? The possessions of God. So that means that they're intruding in some regions that they were not necessarily invited to at first, but something had to happen. There had to be a fall that took place in order for those locations to be habitable by them. And that's the reason why when we read in Revelations, it spoke that, something has fallen and has become the what? The habitation of devils. Here it says intruders. It has become the habitation of devils, has become the habitation of unclean spirits, hated birds and unclean birds. Okay, that's what we're dealing with here. And detestable beasts. That's what we're actually dealing with. And it says fornication is one of their tools. So right here on page 321, it says I'm going down a sentence here. It says the intruders shall be exterminated at the time when this shall be accomplished. Talking about you having the Christ being born from within you, as is written about in the book, in the letter of Galatians. And it says, which is said to be of old tradition. Okay. Now it also says that these intruders are the cause of luxury. It says, and when they disappear, all leaning toward incontinence, which is like over need of these types of passions and so forth, it says will vanish in likewise. Okay. Now let's find out where they're located. In here, it says, out of the what? Heart and the mind shall the intruders be cast once and for all. Okay, so it looks like the habitations, of course, that they have decided to take for themselves is actually within you. And remember, it says the kingdom is on the inside of you. All right, so that means that these habitations that were for the higher regions of righteousness to govern the movements of everything that is taking place in the microcosm, because everything below us should be an example of that which is above, if that makes sense. So it's a top-down approach. So if you look out and you're unhappy with the uncleanliness that is taking place out here, that is because someone else has taken habitations for themselves. Okay, and it's time to serve them their eviction notice. All right, and we're going to find out in part 2 ways that we can kind of establish those types of things. So based on my notes here, I wanted to reference this to let you know that we're dealing with something in the heart, and we're dealing with something that's in the mind. And remember, it says, wherever a man stores his treasures, there will his heart be also. So we want to keep that in mind. So based on the notes here, remember this is part 1, where it's dealing with the who. I apologize if I said the how, but it's dealing with the who. And what I want to do right now, the reason why I want to bring this type of information out, I want to kind of reference what's written in Psalms 82. So let's turn there real quick. That's what I have in my notes. And I want to kind of keep it kind of structured a little bit, so the learning would be easier here. And then you would be able to have your notes where you can kind of open up the investigation for yourself, cross-reference, and maybe go into other sources that you might have, so you can piece it all together in your soul journey here and getting back to the mysteries of the light. Okay, so let's look at Psalm 82. Now, this is the reason why it's important that we're doing this kind of activity. So it says, God standeth where? In the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. Okay, now let's find out what we're supposed to be doing. It says, how long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Selah. How long will you accept the persons of the wicked? So now we're learning about what the characteristic traits of these wicked are, what they've decided they wanted to do, which is take the habitations of the Most High for themselves. And they are taking crafty counsel against you. All right. There are things that they are doing to manipulate you and to cause you to do that which you don't want to do, but you don't know that. So we're going to go into that a little bit more in a later video. But in Psalm 82, how long will you accept this? How long will you accept the persons of the wicked? Defend the poor. Let's do that. Defend the poor and the fatherless. All right. Do justice to the afflicted and the needy. It says, deliver the poor and needy and rid them out of the hand of the wicked. All right. That's the reason why we're going over this particular topic at this moment. It says, they know not, meaning the people, the treasures of the Most High, they know not, neither will they understand. It says they walk on in darkness. They just keep walking out in darkness. And when the blind lead the blind, you both fall into a ditch. It goes on to say, all the foundations of the earth are out of course. Think about that. So that means that because these particular ones are out of course, that means and they're not directly linked up from where they're from, of course, properly, so they can govern and set things in motion properly. That means everything is out of course. All right. Keep that in mind. I have said what? Ye are gods, and all of you are the children of the Most High. All right. So that's very, very important that we bring out Psalm 82 so we can understand why we're bringing out Psalm 83, and then we can provide the cure and the remedy instead of just giving you an emotional refreshment. And that's the reason why we want to structure these particular videos so you can have the tools that you need so you can go the rest of the way and you can deliver who? The afflicted here, the needy, the poor, the fatherless, and so forth, those who need to be grafted back in, so to speak. Now, we should know about what we're doing in part 2, because what we want to do is give you the tools. Now, what I want to pull out, and I'll leave these resources underneath the like button in the description area. What I want to go to right now is the gospel according to Philip. I think this is very, very important that we do this. I'm looking at the Bentley Layton's version here, and I'll leave all of this obviously in the description area for you. Now, there's a part in here that I want to read, and it's very important that we read this. So we're looking at, I think it's the area of dealing with 104. All right, 104, because it's section like that. So we're dealing with 104 in the gospel according to Philip. Now, I want to read this for you, okay? It says, most beings of this world stand up and are alive insofar as their innards are hidden. Okay, like your inward parts. It says, if the innards are exposed, they die, right? As in the case of the visible aspect of human beings, insofar as the intestines of human beings are hidden, they are alive. If their intestines are uncovered and come out of them, human beings die. Check this out. Likewise, trees sprout and grow while their root is hidden. If their root is uncovered, the trees wither. So it is with all begotten things in this world, not only things that are visible, but also those that are what? Hidden. For so long as the root of evil is hidden, it is mighty. Okay, but as soon as it has been what? Recognized, it has what? Perished. And as soon as it has appeared, it has ceased to be. For this reason, scripture says that even now the axe is laid to the root of the trees. It will not just cut down them, for what is cut down sprouts back up. Rather, the axe will bury down until it extracts it from the root. Okay, that's very, very important. So we have those, of course, who have been operating in secrecy because they promote ignorance and darkness being ignorance. So you are not actually aware of the evil that's being done to you in the way that it is being done to you. Because if somebody is providing you all of the options, do you really have a choice? Think about that. If you're out here so-called making choices, but someone has given you the options to choose from, is that really you that's doing that? So what we want to find out, of course, is how we're being influenced, how you're being influenced, and how you're causing mishaps for yourself because it is something that you are asking for without knowing that you're asking for it. And we're going to get into that in part 2. So that's the reason why I wanted to bring out this gospel according to Philip here, because it says as long as the root is hidden, meaning the root of evil, then it is mighty. So we want to make sure that we deliver the captives in these particular sessions that we're going over right now. So that's what I wanted to introduce in the who portion of the Psalms 83. And if you have any questions or comments about this particular video and the series therein, then you can leave those in the comment section underneath the like button, and we'll have a dialogue about that. So that's what we want to do here, of course, is we want to reveal the sons of perdition, and we want to give you the power, restore the power that is rightfully yours, so you can go the rest of the way and we can bring balance. Here again, I'll see you in the next video.